The first thing that I did with every patient is the intestinal formula number 1. So we're going to start talking about that right now. This capsulated formula that you all have in your bag. My first rule was to get the bowel cleaned out. Some people say, well, yes, if I get on a high-fiber food program, won't that do it? We don't have time. I'm not going to wait for that. Might do it in 2 days. It might do it in 2 years, depending on your inherited bowel strength. What about if I drink a lot of liquid? That'll help. Prunes will help. More fruit will help. Thinking better, loving yourself, exercise. All these things will help, but I want to guarantee your bowel works tomorrow morning. That was the guarantee, and that's why I created the intestinal formula number 1, for that reason. I don't care what you eat. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you drink. You will have a bowel movement tomorrow morning with the intestinal formula. And that's what it's designed to do, period. Now, it does more, but that's the only reason I designed it, was to force your bowels to work. And it is amazing, the bowel stories, and we'll get some of yours. I can't wait. I love bowel stories. Oh, it's endless. This woman, her bowel. So she started on the intestinal formula number 1. A friend of mine gave me it for a Christmas present. Great friend. Now you want to know what to give that gift for that person who has everything? She said, I didn't have any bowel movements right away, but I was sure throwing up. Wonderful. Wonderful. The word of natural healing is wonderful. All we want to do is get the stuff out. Where it comes out, I don't care. Just get it out. Throwing up. But I kept taking it. Yes, that's what I like to hear. Not, it's too harsh for me. Okay, I kept taking it. I was throwing up and I kept taking it. And I started going normal. This is a once every 6 months or 2 a year. Or if you want to figure that out, she's going to have normally about 120 bowel movements in her entire life. And she started going. I really became very sick. I started taking the dark powder. And now I really got sick, so sick, I ended up in the hospital. Sitting on the toilet in the hospital, going to the bathroom like crazy. Finally, after she couldn't stand it anymore, the nurses put her up onto the table, and they said that there's no stool in the toilet, just a gigantic tapeworm. I save these stories for after lunch. Wow. Oh, I got a lot of worm stories for you. And I'm sure some of you have some too. ICF number 1, I call it sometimes, intestinal corrective formula number 1. It's all about getting your bowel working. See, we have peristalsis in this organ. From your mouth to here, it's just one big tube. It's one big tube. And let me tell you, besides the mouth and here, there's no way out. Okay, so this person that was having one bowel movement a month, it wasn't like it was coming out somewhere else. Oh, it might come out your skin a little bit or somewhere else, but this is the way out, and so you have to get it moving. It's a big hollow tube. But all along that tube, there's a massage going on. When you chew, when you start chewing and your digestive juices start flowing, you swallow food and there's a massage down your esophagus to move that food down into your stomach, where there's another massage going on to break up that food in your stomach that massages through your pylorus into your duodenum, into your small intestine, where there's another massage going on to help you assimilate this food, to push it through your ileocecal valve into your colon, where there's another massage going on to remove this material from your body. And that massage is called peristalsis, or the muscular movement of your intestinal tract. And it's what you shut off years ago, and I shut off years ago because it was embarrassing. And the intestinal formula number 1 doesn't care how embarrassed you get. It's going to make that massage start happening again. Now, some of us need more massage than others. Some people just need a few capsules, and that's it. They're going. Other people may need to stay on it for the rest of their life. I just look at the bottle and I got to go because I fixed myself with that. Now, what gets that massage going? Well, exercise gets that massage going, but we have a lack of exercise. Fiber in food gets that going. But how much fiber is there in beef, chicken, pork, poultry, milk, fish? Zero. There's no fiber in animal food, and that's the main part of our diet now is animal food. So we have no fiber, very little exercise. What kind of mind tapes are we playing? The next thing you know is we don't go. And the intestinal formula number 1 will make you poop. I don't care how constipated you are, it will make you poop. I don't care if you're dead, it'll make you poop. Because you don't have to think about it. This isn't something you have to take and sit down and meditate about. It's going to take over. It will take over. There is a direct chemical reaction. You can take a colon out of a person. They do this in naturopathic school. Pin it to a table. The person is dead already. You never know with medicine. Pin it to a table and just put the herbs on this colon. And these herbs contain a chemical called an anthraquinone, and the specific one in aloes, senna, and cascara sagrada is called amodin. And when that chemical makes contact with the wall of the bowel, there is a muscular contraction right there on the table. You can make the muscle move. That's why I said even if Uncle Harry's dead or you're not sure, you can still get him to have a bowel movement. I have had so many people call me and say, you don't understand, Dr. Schultz. Our baby was born without any nerves to the bowel. And the doctors say it was impossible for our baby ever to have a bowel movement. I had that baby having normal bowel movements in 3 days. I had another baby. People brought it to me and said, you don't understand, it has no nerves to the bowel. In fact, it's so bad, they're going to do a colostomy on this baby, and it was only 8 months old. 8 months old, and they were going to gut it. And I said, well, how bad is it? And they said, not only when they x-rayed it, they found fecal matter backed up into its stomach, but one day it vomited fecal matter. Now that's backed up. We had that baby having bowel movements in no time. I had a man up on stage in San Diego, had tears in his eyes. After a gallbladder surgery, they cut his nerves by accident, and he could no longer have a bowel movement. At 70 years of age, he had to give himself an enema every morning, and he said, I don't want to live anymore. Someone told him about the intestinal formula. He has bowel movements every day. I don't care what the damn doctor says. You're getting that, right? Okay, don't listen to these lies, because they're all about the average American, not about someone who will do something different. These herbs are probably one of the greatest blessings we have, and they work wonderfully, yes, and they clean you out. And I don't care what the story is. I don't care, like I said, if a person's dead, we'll still get them to have one last poop. Clean them out. I've never, ever, ever had an exception to this rule. This is the Dr. Schultz guarantee. Use this formula, it'll open up. Sooner or later, it'll open up. Now, how soon? I don't know. Maybe tomorrow morning. The rule with, anybody got a bottle of formula number 1? Would you toss me your bottle? Thank you. I can. Doing that for the video. Close up. Some cake wax, floor polish. Take the rust off bumpers. Multi-purpose product. Intestinal formula number 1 will get your bowel working. How do you take it? You put it in your mouth, you swallow the capsule. I designed this one that anybody could do. You swallow the capsule with dinner, with some food in your stomach, one capsule, and you see what happens in the morning. Hopefully what will happen is you'll go in and you'll sit down and you'll go, wow, this is different. You might not get a wow. If you don't get a wow that day in the evening with your dinner, take 2 capsules. And hopefully the next morning you'll have your wow. And you keep increasing by 1 capsule every day. Some people want to take 5 or 6 at once. Fine, but some people have done that and learned the laws of jet propulsion. So I would highly suggest to be patient. This person may have been constipated for years, So let's take some time. I'm a big fan of long, wide turns at getting well and not these quick turn on a dimes to get well. So take your time and take your formula and be patient and you'll get your wow. How many capsules can you take? We get letters all the time. I'm up to 6. Do I dare take any more? There's no limit. There's no limit. Our limit was once 28 capsules someone took, but I just had that limit broken. Got a nice letter from a person in Hawaii. This person took 45 capsules before their bowel worked. And they took 45 capsules at midnight, and at 7 in the morning they started going. They didn't stop for hours, and in a 24-hour period lost 52 pounds. Yeah! I love these record breakers. 52 pounds. And I talked to his wife on the phone, and she goes, I always told him he was full of it. 52 pounds in one sitting. That's full of it, isn't it? Amazing. And had to get up to 45, so there's no record. Try to break that record. I'd like to hear about it. One of your friends. I'd like to hear about it. There's no record. You keep taking, increasing by 1 capsule. Some people have said, well, what if I become addicted to it? Fine, get cancer. Fine, you don't have your bowels rot out. What is the downside of being constipated? All types of colon diseases, all types of colon problems, and eventually maybe even you will reward yourself with a malignancy in your bowel that will metastasize and eat up your whole body and kill you. What's the downside of taking herbs? I haven't found any yet besides whatever this costs a month. I don't see any downsides. I never had any patients have any problems. Some people think, well, I'll become addicted to this. I never seen that. You may need to continue to take it for a while, and if you choose not to make any lifestyle changes, and this is the only thing you do, you'll probably take it for the rest of your life. And that's okay. It's better than having 1 bowel movement a year for the rest of your life, right? So keep taking the herbs. But as you decide to make changes and you eat food with more fiber and move your body a little bit more and think some better thoughts and do some other cleansing, you will find that after a while you will need less and less and less of this. I took this product for 12 years before my bowel worked great. And now I have a bowel movement, I'd like to say within 20 or 30 minutes after a meal, but I usually have to stop eating. And go. Kind of a halfway stop. I got to get this out of my hand before I have to go. Isn't it really silly that I have to stand up here and talk to all you middle-aged people about pooping? What the heck do they teach us in school? Think about it. All these important subjects that I'm going to talk about this week, nobody talks about them. And this is why our kids have so much problem, and this is why we have so much problems. We have to start talking about this stuff again. You know, if we start talking about it, it'll go away. That's why I'm up here. Intestinal formula number 1. It'll put a smile on people's faces. I can't tell you the tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands now, that have used this formula to clean their bowel out. And later on, we'll talk a little more about the specific herbs in it. You know, American Botanical has a new catalog that's in print right now and will be here Wednesday. We're going to have for everybody. We have some new products in it. We always have a lot more products when we haven't been busted for a while. And then you saw, if any of you had our catalog after the 4th of July, you had a choice of superfood, superfood, or superfood. And now we're getting bold again and have more products. We get busted less and less because they've made me a martyr. This is a wonderful position to be in. Now I'm doing more damage than good for them to bust me. You know, the last time they shut us down for 11 days. And I had people and patients pounding on the door. The FDA showed up one day. They almost got lynched right in front of American Botanical Pharmacy. So they let me reopen in 11 days. And you know what I had to do to reopen? Put an automatic spring on the bathroom door. Cost me $1.50 at Home Depot. So they're running out of springs. They're running out of things to tell me to do, because all I'm telling people to do is use God's blessings to help yourself get well. And so on this last one, a man from one of the departments said to me, "What is all this stuff? You think you could help?" He goes, "I got a secretary with colitis, and she's just ripped up by it." I said, "Sure." I said, "This one over here." I sent him out with a big bag. Big bag of products. He called me and thanked me. He said, "I couldn't believe it. In 2 days, it was a blessing." Person from the said, "Okay, Dr. Schultz, where's the herbal ecstasy and the herbal high stuff you sell?" I said, "I don't sell any of that." She goes, "Come on, we know you're selling herbal street drugs and, you know, all this stuff." And I said, "I swear I don't sell it." She goes, "Come on, we know you're selling the herbal ecstasy and all that." I said, "Look, the only ecstasy my customers have is when they take a big dump in the toilet." I got a little upset, lost my composure. And she was like, she never heard that one in school. She was starting to tear in her eyes. And she goes, "You're going to tell me that your whole gigantic business here is based on laxatives?" And I said, "Yeah." And then she went into the front, and we had to take down all my letters from people, because people send us lots of letters. "I've been healed, I've been healed, I've been healed." And I put them up, and a lot of people have stapled to it their hospital reports, the doctor's reports, the blood tests. And she said I had to take them all down. I said, "But look," and she goes, "How do we know you didn't write them all? Like, I got nothing better to do than to sit up all night with different colored pens with my left hand and my right hand and upside down and write myself letters?" But then we got down to it. She knows I've always had this problem. And I said, "Okay." And I talked to her, sent her away with her bag. Lo and behold, she wrote me a letter. She wrote me a letter, and it said about her bowel thing. And I called her up, and I said, "This is wonderful." And she goes, it's a miracle." And I said, "Can I put your letter up?" I was traveling to England, and customs gets me once in a while, and they got me and opened my box and found 150 bottles of intestinal formula. I mean, doesn't everybody carry that many? They said, what is this?" And I said, "It's bowel cleanser." And they said, 150 bottles? And I said, "You know, I have a lot of friends, and, you know, wherever I go, I'm like Johnny Bowel Cleanser. I hand it out. Everybody needs some, right? Everybody can use a little help." And the head came over, and they had the dogs all around me, the puppy dogs jumping up on me, and they said, "Look, we're going to have to take this down to the lab, alert your airlines that you're going to miss your connection, you're not going to make the super shuttle, and you're probably going to end up sleeping in the airport, but we have to test all this stuff, and it'll take a couple hours." I said, "Fine." And one of the customs agents, Her Majesty's Customs, said, "Well, what is this?" And I said, "It's bowel." I said, "Don't you know about the bowel and how we've lost our peristalsis?" Next thing I know, there's 2 or 3 people. So there was that luggage thing right here. So I got up on top of it. And next thing I know, there were about 16, 17 customs agents here, because the planes had gone and there wasn't anybody in the airport. And I was telling them, "Don't you know about the diseases that you can have in your intestines?" And they got it. They got healed. And so I was starting to sell it to them. And I couldn't convert the pound sterling to the dollar very well. So one of them brought up a calculator and was doing the adding for everybody. And I was selling them. And just in the middle of that, the head of the customs came back up out of the lab. And he said, "What are you all doing?" And they said, "You got to listen to this guy. Did you know that everybody has diverticulosis?" And he was like, "We haven't even tested this stuff yet." And they said, "You got to hear this story." I guess the point is I'm a good salesman. But the real point is, and I said this earlier, we all open our hearts and minds to common sense. These customs people were just like anybody else. They had a problem on the John too, or someone in their family did, and they were just like anybody else. And everybody opens up to common sense, whether it's the customs officers, whoever it is. Get me going. I sold a bottle of bowel cleanser to a taxi driver in Las Vegas a few weeks ago. Let's